Welcome to my channel. Today we have the Rolex Deepsea Sea Dweller. I might have said that backwards. Model number 126660, the James Cameron. So without getting too much into history, this is called the Deepsea James Cameron. I think it's the James Cameron that directed the movie Titanic and other films, unless it's just the same dude with the same, unless it's a different dude with the same name. I'm pretty sure that's why it's called James Cameron. And apparently a while ago he dived deep into the sea. I think it was called the Deep Sea Challenge. This was I think it was back in 2012. Don't quote me on it, but anyways, he dived really deep, and and then I guess Rolex made a watch to commemorate his Deep Sea Challenge. So the Deep Sea was originally released in, I think, 2014 by Rolex. What was different about it is it has this blue dial, as you can see, instead of black. I think hopefully it's easier to see in real life compared to in video. But it goes from a shade of black to blue. It's supposed to represent when you dive into the ocean, it starts off blue, but as you go deeper, it's gonna get darker, hence I do know that the original Deep Sea with the black dial wasn't exactly that popular. It was very, it's comparable to the Submariner, but it was able to withstand a higher depth rating. But when they came out with this blue one, demand shot up. So this specific model with the reference 126660 is the updated version. They do have another model with the 116660. So instead of the 2, it's the 1. So the main difference is the bracelet size. This has the bigger bracelet. It's wider, whereas the other one, the original one, has a more narrow bracelet, making it much more top heavy, and I would say more unbalanced. I have not tried that on, but I would say it would be very top heavy if it had a more narrow bracelet. This also has the wider clasp, as you can see. Oh, sorry. But yeah, the clasp is bigger. Whatever this thing is called, the safety clasp is also bigger. The folding clasp. Another feature on this newer model is the crown. I don't know if you can see it. At 6 o'clock, it says Swiss made. There's now a crown. There's a Rolex crown in the middle. You'll also see on the dial, well, not on the dial, crap, I can't remember what do you call that ring in the inside? Anyways, it says ring lock system. Rehaut, is that how you say it? Rehaut? It says ring lock system. Without getting too scientific with it, it's basically something that can make the watch go deeper and withstand pressure. Let's take a look at the bracelet. So the bracelet, Rolex uses 904 steel, and they call it oyster steel. I think it's supposed to be harder resistant. I'm not really sure. I myself can't really tell the difference between 904 steel and what's the other one? 316 steel. So Rolex does say that the 904 steel is more resistant to corrosion compared to 316. If you look at the clasp, there is a fold out clasp. Is that what it's called? Flip lock. Shit. I think it's called a flip lock. I don't know, but there's something. I'm not entirely sure how to use it. I don't want to break this thing, but I'm sure you can flip it out to make it bigger. And then there's a glide lock system, which is similar to the Submariner. It's set to my wrist right now, so I'm not gonna fuck around with it too much. But the glide lock, basically it just glides up and down, so you can adjust it on your wrist, depending on if it's colder, warmer, and if you're wearing a wetsuit, all that good stuff. It's much better than my Batman, which has the fold lock, or the thing that flips out, and the Easy Link. Easy Link is what it's called on the Batman, on the GMT. I find that thing very useless. I can never get it right. It's either too big or too small. Bracelet has a brushed finish, which I don't mind, but as y'all know, I prefer polished links because I think it looks dressier, it looks more fancy. For the movement, to those of you that care, it's the Caliber in-house Caliber 3235 automatic chronometer. I myself, like, honestly, like, I don't really care about movements and watches. I know that might be blasphemy for some of you, but I like how the watch looks, and, you know, an automatic to me is an automatic. Well, what I mean to say, an automatic in a Rolex is still an automatic. I know they do update it. I don't really care what Rolex does with their calibers. I don't exactly buy a Rolex for the movement, although I know that they have great movements. I buy for the design. The diameter of this watch is 44 millimeters, which is 1 millimeter bigger than the Sea Dweller 43. Height is 18 millimeters. Super thick. Thick boy, thick boy. The weight is 228 grams. Now let's see how this wears on the wrist. I definitely appreciate this little safety lock. I hate watches that don't have it, because I drive convertibles. I always feel like I'm not talking about Rolex, but I've had watches where there was no safety lock, and like if I bend my wrist a certain way, it's popped off before, and I'd be driving convertibles, so like I don't want my watch just flying off. So I definitely like the safety clasp. I wish it was on the Datejust. I love my Datejust, but it doesn't have that, so I'm always concerned if I'm accidentally gonna flip it off. Very cool. Pretty heavy, but I'm used to heavy and big watches. After wearing it for a while, you don't really notice it. Although this is a very noticeable watch. Huge wrist presence. The clicks sound super solid and satisfying. Ugh, fuck. I hate it like when I go like one over, because now I gotta redo the whole thing. Got it. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I got some other watches coming in as well. I've had a lot of people ask me how to get a watch from the AD, because just so y'all know, the waitlist does not exist. It's not real, people. I'll make another video on that later on. Peace.